What is up, guys? This is Hank Saber coming to you from a Popeyes, where I have my friend Brendan with me, and he's going to give me his deck, and it is a deck that is well tested and has actually has beaten me and my plant deck, my Sylvans, and he's pretty good with it. So it is a.
This is the late to regionals, so goes to locals.
Yeah.
6-0 swoop.
Okay.
Gets angry because he could have done well at regionals.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, this could have been the easy invite, but let's get started on the profile.
All right.
This is Qliphort Monarchs.
Yeah.
The reason why I like playing this deck is because Idea loses to Valor in the pure Monarch build. So one of my I like in the Quantum Monarch build. I don't like. It's too expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just play the Qliphort build.
Yeah.
Where I can play the Ether and tribute the carrier and helix, and then get their effects going off.
And plus, Disc works with tenacity, right? And
yeah,
all of them do.
Disc and all of them work with tenacity.
Okay.
So let's get started to the deck profile. We're gonna play 3 Ether. Ether is the main guy I play. It's one of my favorite Monarchs actually, because of the Stormforth Ether combo, where you tribute your opponent's monster to stop their play. Get going with yours and summon whatever you want for the next turn.
Cool.
So this is like one of my favorite Monarchs, along with 2 Erebus. A lot of people ask why I don't play 3. Well, simply because Erebus is nice to see opening hand, but I don't like to this. I just love this really a lot. So it's like, and I also need a space for the Qliphort engine, so I just play 2 Erebus. Oh, oops. Okay. Then the 1 Mega Thestalos, Hand Knowledge. Knowledge is power. Hand Knowledge is power. Another thing that I like is playing Escalation with the Monarchs. After I rip this out the hand rip a card out the hand with Erebus, I can tribute and summon Thestalos, and then Thestalos can rip a card out the hand. 1 Kuraz. This is my least favorite Monarch for the simple fact that I prefer popping my own things than my opponent's things.
Yeah.
Because I hate nowadays if you let somebody draw on Yu-Gi-Oh, it's pretty darn bad.
But it's out to all the floodgates.
So if I have a prime in my hand, I'll set the prime, and then I'll pop with the Kuraz, and then I'll draw whatever.
Yeah.
Since I don't play chicken game anymore, it's kind of less useful. Yeah. But yeah, I don't. And on to the Squires. Play 1 Idea, 2 Squire, 2 Eidos, and 1 Mithra. Like I said, this thing loses to Valor so much. So it's like, once in the pure build, you normal summon Valor. Yes, it's a Valor. You normal summon Idea, and then once you get Valor, your play is pretty much done. So it's like, you can't do anything from right there. So that's why I play in the Qliphort build. 2 Eidos is because if I'm gonna play Mithra as well, I don't want to have too many little guys. Yeah. So I can brick with a bunch of little guys in my hand. Okay. So yeah, this is just like perfect for me. Cool. And that's enough for that. On the Qliphort engine, play the 1 Scout. Yep. Another thing, I do not play Summoner's Art for the simple fact that I kind of run through my deck. I run through my deck with Pantheism and Upstart. Yeah. So I'll get into what I need. Cool. The 1 Scout, 3 Carrier. This is like one of the best cards in the deck because with Ether and the Stormforth, not only can I tribute my opponent's monster to summon Ether, but if I tribute the Carrier, I can get another monster out of the way. Cool. So not only does it ruin a play, but it definitely ruins a play. Like -2. Then 3 Disc. Disc works as a pendulum scale. I don't have the monolith. I don't have a monolith. I just found all this stuff in my book and I just threw it in there. Yeah. The 3 Disc. This works under the pendulum scale, and this actually works to push. And it's also these Qliphorts. They work off tenacity. They work off of tenacity, and then when I summon them off of return, I can add, or I can add these off of return. And off Ether, I can special summon any of these guys. Yeah. But yeah, Disc pushes for damage, or what's it called? It pushes for damage, and it works as a pendulum scale. Yep. But this also is actually good with Ether as well, because if I Stormforth and then it's just as good as Ether. If I use Stormforth and I tribute the Carrier and I summon the Disc, I tribute my opponent's monster. Yeah. And then I got rid of the Carrier, so I'm bouncing back a monster. Yeah. And I'm tributing a monster. Yeah. And I summon 2 from my deck.
What would you cut for the Monolith?
For the Monolith? Well, I want to play the Monolith, but I don't have it.
Okay. What would you cut for it if you had it?
What would I cut for it? I'd probably drop the Carrier to 2.
Okay.
And we play 2 Helix.
Yep.
I don't really find much, back row as important.
Yeah.
Game 1, but game 2, if it's a big problem for me, game 1, then game 2 I'll side 8.
Cool.
And by the way, if anything seems a bit, extraordinary or like stupid, it's because I sided.
Yeah.
Like I don't have domain in the main deck for the simple fact that if I have Qliphort to my extra deck, it's not working.
Yeah. That's a problem with some. Like sometimes this deck has that you have cards in your extra deck, right? Because you're tributing your pendulums.
Yeah.
But it ends up to still be a good engine.
Yeah.
Overall.
So three upstarts.
Yep.
3 upstarts and 3 pantheisms. These are what get me going through the deck.
Yep.
And drawing into the pantheism, I'd probably draw into an upstart. Just these 6 cards get me going.
Yep.
And the 3 tenacity, this also counts as a card that gets me going. With tenacity, can search into pantheism if I want to.
Yep.
This becomes anything. A Stormforth. This is a card you have to play at 3. Any card that is Stratos-like is a 3 of. Then we play the 3 Stormforth. This is Mirror Match Gold, and this is just deck gold.
Out to Dark Destroyer,
out to everything. Like, then again, I have Erebus to get out to Dark Destroyer, but Stormforth, just being able to tribute your opponent's monsters, and with the carrier, that it's just very. I love it.
Yeah.
Especially with the Ether, where you activate Stormforth on their standby phase, and then you banish it with Ether. And then you use the prime to special summon it.
Yeah.
Or if you have a carrier already, you tribute your opponent's monster and that you summon the Ether.
Cool.
And then you just go out from there. Cool. Then for 1-ups, I play the 1 March and the 1 Return. Yep. Return, even though it's a 1-up, it's very good.
It's searchable too.
Yeah. You search off your you get to search Ether off this, by the way. So if you have a Stormforth and you don't have the Ether, you can get your summon off and then return. You add the Ether and now you're set up for your opponent's turn. Then we have the 1 Regeki, the 1 Dark Hole, and the 1/1 for 1. And that's pretty much it. Cool. And for the trap cards, I'll play 2 Prime Monarch.
Yeah, you don't need 3.
I would play 3, but the thing is that I don't want to brick with more than 1 copy of the card because I'm going to regret it. Like, And then I play 1 Monarch Erupt. The thing about it is I can activate it if I don't have cards in my extra deck.
Yeah, it's a cool card.
So if I activate it while I don't have cards in my extra deck, and then I put cards in my extra deck, it wouldn't destroy it or anything.
Yeah.
So it still fits up on the field. So basically what this is if I have a tribute summon monster on the field, it's a skill drain for everything besides tribute summon monsters. And on top of that, I can just pendulum summon and get the tribute summon off. So I don't really need anything other than the pendulum summon fodder and what I need to tribute summon. So yeah, this is pretty good.
One last one.
And one last escalation. Ether is escalation, but there are times where like Erebus and Thestalos, those 2 cards, if they had that Ether-like effect, they'd be completely broken. Yeah. So if I use escalation, and say you were to search, and I activate escalation and I get Thestalos off, I'll just rip it out right out of your hand. Yeah. And with Erebus, I'll just randomly shuffle 1 card back into your deck. Cool. Yeah. So like once you any OTK play or anything like that, escalation, get the Erebus off, shuffle it back.
So you said that you would side in the domains against things like Pepe.
Yeah, things like Pepe, I'll side in like domains, Majesty's Fiend. Like I have a good side.
Because otherwise, it doesn't advance your game state too much against the Cosmo matchup. It could be dead. Yeah. And in some Monarch deck and some Monarchs, it could be dead.
But I would consider main decking domain, not for the simple fact that not everything is about not letting your opponent go to the extra deck. A lot of it has to do with lowering the levels. Yeah. So
and also the attack boost.
If you have like an Eidos and a Jisk or something, you can just lower the level, summon, and then that's one of my favorite effects of the domain. Cool. But I also choose a side.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Brendan, for the deck profile, and we look to see you in the future. See you. Bye.